is Friday, TGIF edition of the show, coming to you from the Magic City of Birmingham. This is the #1 forum for all things Crimson Tide football. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Happy to have everybody checking out the show on today. SEC Media Days in the books, but we got a lot to talk about, a lot to unpack, a lot to discuss, and we want to do it with you guys here on the show. 205-448-1358. That's the number to call in to let your voice be heard here on the show. 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Want to hear from you. We're streaming the show on YouTube. Speaking of a channel, go ahead right now, drop a thumbs up, give a like on the show, hit that subscribe button, turn all of those notifications on, hit that bell so that way you can have all your news, notes, alerts, and entertainment on your favorite program, that being Alabama football. We also got you covered on Facebook and Twitter as well, all forms of social media. Streaming to you the show, no excuse whatsoever for you not to be checking out #1 ticket here on your Crimson Tide. In my own words right here, as always, that daily super chat goes $75. Daily super chat go. Appreciate everybody for the donations, the love, the appreciation, making us your show, your network, your channel, and talking about your favorite program. But a lot has transpired here this week, and we're going to dive right into the conversation, jumping into topic #1, and that being, of course, Texas and Oklahoma. The reports happened on Thursday, and of course, the reports have been going on. Well, reports happened Wednesday. So from Wednesday to yesterday and now today, the conversation has been on Texas and Oklahoma wanting to leave the Big 12 and join the SEC, wanting to leave where they are and expand this conference right here, being the Southeastern Conference. And of course, the reports were first started off by Chip Brown of Horns 247, and it went from there to other outlets picking up the story, other outlets picking up the commotion, other outlets picking up what's been going on here between the Longhorns and the Sooners. And what's interesting here is that both of those two programs are the founding fathers of the Big 12. They hold the conference up, they hold the region up, they hold what makes that Power 5 venue an important venue, but they want out. No more of a deal with the Big 12, that they've been in conversations with the Big 12 officials stating that, on Monday, they're going to inform the officials that they do not want to renew, they do not want to remain in the Big 12. They're looking to go elsewhere. They're looking to head out, and the conference they want to go to, that being the SEC. So what's occurring here right now is Texas and Oklahoma, they could wait this thing out to 2024, so that way by 2025, when the league's rights, expire, they can just go on toward the SEC, or if they want to expedite this process and just get out as soon as they possibly can, kind of having that by any means necessary, effective immediately type deal, they would have to give up or relinquish the last 3 to 4 years of that contractual Big 12 revenue. They would have to give that up, which would be a total of nearly $160 million. So Texas and Oklahoma would each have to pay $80 million or give up the $80 million if they're trying to get out of this thing sooner rather than later. I talked to a source that's very close to the situation, and I've been told this thing is legit in terms of Oklahoma, Texas wanting out of the Big 12, wanting to join the SEC. It's only a matter of when they will have a chance to make that thing happen. But at the end of the day, U.S. Tide fans, your main concern is, how does this affect Alabama? How does this affect the Crimson Tide and Nick Saban? When something new happens in the conference, you want to know, how does this affect Alabama? If something were to happen to the Alabama team directly, you want to know, how does this affect Alabama? How does this affect Coach Saban? How does this affect the program that we love, we enjoy, we consume, we spend so much time having these conversations about? So I'm going to get into my 3 reasons as to why if the SEC, you're bringing in Texas, you're bringing in Oklahoma, how does this impact Alabama? How does this affect Alabama? So 3 reasons coming up on screen right now. You look at this would promote better matchups in the regular season having Texas and Alabama. This would also make recruiting all the more intense. And number 3, this would add more conference games to the table. So first and foremost, this would provide better regular season matchups. Let's be honest here for a moment. You as Alabama fans, as we look at Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide, you brag about a lot of things. No, you brag about Alabama winning national championships. You brag about Alabama winning conference championships. You brag about Alabama having the best coach of all time, that being head coach Nick Saban. You brag about Alabama having the best in 4- and 5-star recruits. You also brag about the Crimson Tide taking these guys and developing them to be NFL talents. But one thing that you would like to brag more about is being able to have the best schedule, the most exciting schedule, the most compelling schedule, the most eye-popping schedule, the most attractive schedule, a schedule where every single game is competitive, every single game is fun, every single game is entertaining, every single game presents the motive of I can't pee. If I have to go to the bathroom, I'm going to miss something exciting. I'm going to miss something fun. I'm going to miss something that is larger than life, if you will. And you already have, good opponents in the conference. When you look at facing Georgia, facing Florida, facing LSU when they're good, facing Auburn when it's good, facing different teams within the conference, especially when they're good. But when you add a Texas that traditionally big brand program, I know they have not been relevant since Vince Young. They have not been relevant since Colt McCoy, but big brand program. And then you have Oklahoma, another big brand program. And when you look at what Lincoln Riley has done as a head coach, he's produced Heisman winners with Baker Mayfield at quarterback and Kyler Murray at quarterback. He's produced Heisman Trophy winners within that program. So you bring in both of these 2 teams. Now you add 2 teams that you have to play consistently, each year or almost each year, which adds more fun to the schedule, which adds more eyeballs to the schedule, which adds more television contracts, which brings more of a love, because the number one thing that U.S. Tide fans hate hearing, Bama don't play nobody. Bama don't schedule nobody. Bama's schedule is always easy. It's always a cupcake. Nobody challenges Alabama. Nobody gives Alabama that friction every year that it needs to have every year. Now, you add in a Texas, you add in Oklahoma to join the other tough teams you have in the conference. Now, that kind of seriously just does away with that conversation, because especially if the likes of Steve Sarkisian hit there as a head coach. But that's just the first thought right there, is having more compelling matchups. Number 2, when it comes down to recruiting in the SEC is already the wild, wild west. When you look at Nick Saban and Alabama, Saban's able to go into every area, or any area for that matter, and he's able to pull the best, the marquee, the special talents from every area. He may not grab every recruit from different states. He may not grab every 4 or 5 star, but if this particular player has these trigger words or trigger phrases behind their name, when you talk about they are special, they are elite, they are marquee, they are program building, program elevating, transcendent. You get those terms behind a respective recruit, those are the ones that Nick Saban is going to go in Florida, in Georgia, in Texas, in Louisiana, and he's going to grab the best of those players from those states and have those fans going, why in the world can we keep the in-state talent at home? So Saban's able to go out there and get those guys. And it's not because, those particular programs don't have great coaching. They do. Florida's got Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen's a marquee coach. Texas A&M's got Jimbo Fisher. He's a marquee coach. You look at Georgia, they've got Kirby Smart, a marquee coach. Ole Miss has got Lane Kiffin, a marquee coach. But it's just Saban's able to bypass all of those guys, go down to all those different programs because of how he's able to win. He's able to dominate every year. He's able to speak the lingo of these kids. He's able to relate to these young athletes, even at being at 69 years old. He's able to go down there and get these guys. Now, if you add an Oklahoma, a Texas, a Lincoln Riley, a Steve Sarkisian, now this makes recruiting even more intensified, because now you have these two, Sarkisian and Riley, in direct competition, head-to-head direct competition against Nick Saban, and you give Nick Saban an even more intriguing challenges of, okay, coach, we've seen you've dominated the Kirby Smarts in recruiting. You dominated the Jimbo Fishers. You dominated the Lane Kiffins. You dominated the Dan Mullins. You dominated these guys. Now that we bring in these two other coaches, can you dominate a Lincoln Riley going head-to-head against you? That means you go into Oklahoma, you pull all the best Oklahoma talent. You get all the best Oklahoma guys. And then you go on face-to-face now with Steve Sarkisian. Yes, Steve Sarkisian, he may hit us a head coach, but you can go a chance to go down there and grab all those guys, take all those guys, on all those guys. So the intensity in recruiting picks up if you bring in those two teams. And so also you look at, more conference games is the last one. And Nick Saban has been wanting this for quite some time. And he's been talking about it, having 9 conference games, having more games within the conference. Now, of course, the other SEC coaches have said, we don't want this, we don't need this, this ain't good, this would not be beneficial. But Saban has always been on board with having more conference games, having more conference opponents, alleviating 1 or 2 of those lesser-tier non-conference matchups. Adding in a Texas and an Oklahoma, that gives you that, because now you got to face, like I said, Texas every year or every other year. You got to face Oklahoma every year or every other year, and it adds more of a challenge of Alabama, pushing itself in the boundary of winning the conference every year, pushing itself in the boundary of winning, getting to the college football playoff every year, because those 9 conference games going to be a challenge. Getting to the national championship game every year, because within that conference you're going to get that friction, you're going to get that push, you're going to get that challenge, you're going to get that competition. So I think those 3 key reasons then when you discuss being able to have the better matchups in the regular season. Everybody wants to see the big teams play against the big teams, the best play against the best, the marquee against the marquee. How can we get it? How can we have it? How can we put it together? That right there, bringing those eyeballs and TV contracts. Number 2, recruiting. Recruiting is going to be intensified. You add a Texas, you add an Oklahoma, everybody's going to be fighting for all these kids. Everybody's going to be fighting for the top recruits, the top 5 stars, the top 4 stars, fighting for who's the next transcendent talent, who's the next transcendent name, who's the next marquee recruit. And after seeing what Saban has done in the current look of the SEC, you make a little bit of an expansion here. It's even more of a challenge for him to continue that greatness on the trail. And then last but not least, having more of those conference games, a 9-game conference schedule. This is something that Nick Saban has been pushing for. He's been wanting, he's been desiring. And having the expansion here of the SEC will definitely give him that. We'll check out this poll right here that you guys, and looking at, do you bring Texas and Oklahoma in? Do you keep the SEC as the same? So far, 33%, so 1/3 of you say no, keep the SEC the way it is. Texas, Oklahoma, get the heck out of here. Keep the conference the way it is. 29% say, yeah, heck yeah, let's go. Bring Texas, Oklahoma in here. And then 12% of you guys say, it don't really matter. Long as Saban win, long as Bama on top, it's what's up. And then 25% of you haven't quite decided. So keep your thoughts going in that poll. Are you feeling the expansion? Are you not feeling it? Do you not really care? Keep those thoughts going here on the show. But those are just my 3 reasons in that conversation. But we take a break here on the show. Don't touch that dial, because when we get back, we get into your phone calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your opinions, your conversation right after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up. Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care. In support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
We're back inside from the break, folks. Back in from the break of number one farm for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine on a Friday TGIF edition of the show, ending your work week off correctly. And before we go on the phone lines to take your calls, get into the call segment, gotta shout out Jimmy Clay! Jimmy Cash Clay, that $25 donation, starting us off right here on the show. Appreciate the love coming from Jimmy Clay, as always. The daily Super Chat goal, $75 daily Super Chat goal. Appreciate the support from each and every last one of you. But like I mentioned, call segment right here, brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. That's the number right there to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. If you haven't voted yet, check out the poll on the screen here in the chat line. The poll being, are you for Texas and Oklahoma coming in? Are you not for? Do you not care? Do you feel indifferent? Check out the poll right now in the chat line on YouTube as we're going through the show. Get your vote on right there. But as you guys are getting your thoughts together to call in, quick little topic right here, and it goes to one Jameson Williams, the receiver for the Crimson Tide, transfer from Ohio State. Nick Saban and John Mechie both very impressed with this young man right here. Coach Saban mentioned at SEC Media Days on Wednesday that Alabama needed more juice in the wide receiver room. The last time Coach Saban used the word juice to describe someone, that was Keelan Robinson at the running back position. But on Wednesday, Saban said, we needed more juice at the wide receiver room because we lost 4 first-rounders. We lost 4 aces. We lost 4 jokers out of a deck of cards. We lost Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddles. We needed more juice. And we feel like Jameson Williams gives us that. He's very, very impressive. This is coming from Coach Saban. And then, John Mechie took the podium during the player availability portion, and the thought was brought to him, with Alabama, losing so many guys offensively, do you see the offense being less dynamic? Do you feel the offense maybe taking a step back? And John Mechie said no, and the reason why he doesn't see it taking a step back is he brings up Jameson Williams. He says, Jamo, he's got burst, speed, acceleration, explosiveness, routes, hands. Like, he's going to have our offense even more dynamic. I mean, John Mechie said the confidence he's got is through the roof when you talk about these young receivers here on the roster. But in just singling out, Williams, he said, hey, this guy, speed, hands, agility, burst, routes, acceleration, explosiveness. Alabama's losing nothing in terms of the dynamics of its offense, especially with this young man coming over from Ohio State, joining this team here. So very cool right there. It's going to be interesting to see, him on the field, whether he starts or whether he comes off the bench as a major rotationary piece. Jameson Williams is going to create some type of impact on this team. He is too good. He has a whole bunch of experience for him not to be on this field, for him not to get playing time, for him not to have some type of a say within the offensive attack here. So keep your eyes on Jameson Williams this upcoming season. The team already loves him. Coaching staff, Nick Saban, you heard him, him saying Williams brings the juice, so gonna be exciting right there. We go to another break here on the show. Don't touch that dial, just getting started. When we get back, Auburn is continuing the talk this offseason. After Tony Fair made his statement, new defensive lineman, about Auburn's coming to take the head off the elephant, junior quarterback Bo Nix at SEC Media Days made him a bit of a statement concerning the Crimson Tide. We'll talk about that after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your four-finger bling necklace right now at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
What's up, people? We're back in from the break with a #1 ticket here for your Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, on a Friday, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Continue to check out the poll on the site in terms of Texas and Oklahoma potentially joining the SEC. Are you feeling it? Are you not feeling it? Do you not care? You feeling different? Check out the poll right now. Get your vote on when it comes down to potential, SEC expansion here. But as we're back in from the break, I mentioned on a previous show that if you are going to talk, if you're going to talk junk, if you're going to talk trash, if you're going to take your shot at Alabama, you do it right now. You let the chopper fall right now. You empty the clip now. You let the revolver fall right now. You get it all out. You get it all out in the open right now, because right now it's early. Everybody's undefeated. Nobody's played everybody. Everybody's got high hopes and high expectations. So if you are going to talk trash, if you are going to take shots, you do it right now. And boy, oh boy, are the Auburn Tigers doing it right now. I mean, Tony Fair, new defensive lineman for Auburn. He had the little video talking about we're going to take the head off the elephant, hashtag Natty Season. He put the video up there on Twitter. But on Thursday, to conclude SEC Media Days in Hoover, Hyatt Regency Winfrey Hotel, Bo Nix, junior quarterback, took the podium. And he is carrying the same conversation as the defensive lineman, Tony Fair. Check out what Bo Nix had to say in terms of Alabama.
Tony, he transferred into us, and that quote, obviously it's a confident quote, but I hope he's coming to take the head off the elephant. I hope he's not coming to get the head taken off the tiger. So that's really important. But I think that actually I like the quote. I think it's important because we're not scared of Alabama. I know.
There's Bo Nix right there saying, not scared of Alabama. Auburn junior quarterback Bo Nix, not scared of Alabama. We about taking the head out off the elephant. We trying to do this. We trying to get this thing done. So already conversation, already talk, already just so much build up, right, for this year's Iron Bowl. And I understand Coach Saban, he likes to take things one step at a time, one game at a time, one moment at a time, one play at a time. I understand that. But this year's Iron Bowl is just huge because when you already have different Auburn players talking like we're going to take the head off the elephant. Alabama ain't nothing to us. We ain't scared of them. We ain't afraid of them. No reason to respect them. We coming in here, or they coming to us, and we decapitating that head off Big Al. Just hearing these types of conversations coming from Auburn players. If you're Nick Saban, you're going in there with the mindset of, even though they've got a first-year head coach, you're coming in with the mindset of, I'm running the score up. I'm running the score up. I'm blowing the hinge off the door. I'm taking the top off, the Maserati. Like, I'm coming in here really doing this to Auburn just to show that, hey, still Alabama here. Hey, we're still running the SEC. Hey, we're still running the whole college football, if you will. If you're going to talk about us, you talk about us with the utmost respect here. That's what you're looking at where Alabama and Coach Saban, are concerned. I mean, you love the confidence, yes. You love the moxie, yes. You love the motivation that Auburn's trying to provide itself, yes. But when you look at not just the defensive lineman, now your quarterback, the face of the team, the face of the room, he's coming out saying, I'm all about taking the head off the elephant. This is what we do. This is what we strive to accomplish. This is what we strive to become. No one's scared of Bama. Who's Bama? Nobody's afraid of Nick Saban. Who's Nick Saban? Nobody's afraid of that program. People want us to be afraid of that program. We have no fear toward the program. So this makes the Iron Bowl this year all the more intriguing. I mean, I go back to last season, Bo Nix called Mac Jones a game manager. Called him a game manager in the press conference. And word got back to the Crimson Tide. Devontae Smith, showed it to Mac Jones. Hey, Mac, check this out, Playboy. Look at what Bo Nix said about you, man. He called you a game manager. How you feel about that, son? How you feel about that, bro? Like, partner, how you feel about that? This cat done called you a game manager. Not an elite quarterback, not a special talent, not a marquee leader. He called you a game manager. And Mac goes out there last season at Bryant-Denny and just tore Auburn's secondary up. I mean, Mac, 302 passing yards, 5 touchdowns. Alabama got the 42-13 win, and it didn't even need Nick Saban. Nick Saban was at home taking IVs, eating soup, and watching I Love Lucy, getting over COVID. Nick didn't need to be out there. Why? Because Mac Jones was out there dropping bombs, doing this thing, firing back at Bo Nix. How you think I'm a game manager? Let me show you what a game manager really is. And he went out there and took over, as opposed to Nix here. He was intercepted twice, once by Malachi Moore, once by Brian Branch, and he was also sacked 4 times in that matchup, and also had a very frustrated Seth Williams at wide receiver. I mean, that was just that in itself. But with that being said, how does Bo Nix respond this time around? After making that statement, we're about taking the head off the elephant for real. After making that statement, Auburn, we are not afraid of Alabama. People want us to be scared. We are not scared of the Crimson Tide. So how does Bo Nix take those words and implement them on the field this time around at Jordan-Hare Stadium this season in the fall? That's going to be interesting. That's going to be the tale of the Can he go out there at Jordan-Hare against a vaunted, angry, mad, ticked-off Alabama defense that for the last 3 years, all they've heard, you suck, you're trash, you're not good, you're not dominant, you're not explosive, you're not marquee anymore, you have no motivation anymore. And that defense is going to be playing with its ears perked up like a trained German Shepherd, hair on fire, bad intentions in every sense of the word. You're going to be playing against Chris Allen and Christian Harris and Henry Toto and Will Anderson and all these guys coming at you in waves of hostility. Coming at you in waves of hostility. Can Bo Nix be able to handle that after making the statement, we are about taking the head off the elephant. We are about not being afraid of Alabama and head coach Nick Saban. This is going to be a very intriguing Iron Bowl, people. I 100% believe it on that. That's going to take us to our next break, folks. But people, don't touch that dial. Folks are already talking, but don't touch that dial. When we get back, we return to the phone lines to take your calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your texts, your opinions on all things Bama football, or whatever else may be on your mind. We talk to you after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com now to get your four-finger bling necklace. You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your four-finger bling necklace right now at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
Firing back in, folks. Firing back in from the break of the number one forum for your Crimson Tide football news, notes, information, and entertainment. That being In My Own Words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. Touchdown Alabama Magazine on a Friday. TGIF edition of the end ending that work week off for you correctly. Got a couple of super chats to get to. How about our own Spencer Reveley with that $5 donation? Appreciate that from Spencer and Jimmy. Cashman Clay back in with that $45 donation. The daily super chat goal, $75 has been met. Appreciating Jimmy Clay and Spencer Reveley helping us out here on the show. As we go to the poll right now, you guys answering the poll about SEC expansion, bringing in Texas, Oklahoma. Are you feeling it, not feeling it, indifferent? So far, yes, let's go. In the lead, 47% of the vote. So 47% of you are saying bring Texas in, bring Oklahoma in. Let's get down with the get down. 32% of you say no, keep the SEC the same, right where it is. A good 11% of you say, indifferent about it. You guys are indifferent about it, 11%. 16% of you saying, 10% of you saying you have not decided yet. So keep on voting right now. The poll in the YouTube chat line, 47% of you all for the expansion here. We go to the phone lines to take your calls, 205-448-1358, 205-448-1358. We grab a call right now. You're live on the show. What's going on?
Hey, Stephen L. What's up? What's up?
What's going on, man?
Hey, this is the SEC trying to get ahead of the curve on this. This is inevitable. This is where college football is going. And schools like Oklahoma and Texas will make a great addition to the SEC. Now I've heard fans, worried about Texas bringing their baggage to their baggage and their attitude to the SEC, like they were running the Big 12. But Nick Saban's the most powerful person in college football. And he wanted the SEC to move to a 9-team playoff. And it hasn't happened yet. I mean, not a 9-team SEC game season. And it hasn't happened yet. No, it will happen, but it's going to happen slower than Nick Saban had said he wanted. Nick Saban couldn't just pressure the SEC or push the SEC in a direction. Texas certainly isn't going to do it. They're going to go toe the line and get with the program like all the other conferences do. And if they don't, they'll be shown the door. Because the SEC doesn't need them. They need the SEC doesn't need them. And of course, if we have divisions, which I would like to get rid of the divisions in the SEC altogether, I don't think they need them. But if they do, you'll have, I think Alabama and Auburn will move to the east, and then Texas and Oklahoma be in the west, and the conferences made up that way. And this will make some really fantastic games in the SEC. It'll immediately increase the number of great games in the SEC. And the SEC will continue on forever being the premier conference in college football, which already is. But it's just going to cement that even further. like with the playoffs expanding and everything like that, you're going to have to end up with these super conferences. And the SEC is just with Oklahoma and Texas will ensure that they're the top dogs in the super conference. That's going to happen too. So these people who not embracing this, or you're just going to be behind the curve. Which fortunately you don't run the SEC, so we don't have to worry about being behind the curve. That's where you all would have us if they listen to you. Is getting ahead of the game and making sure the SEC continues to stay on top, and it's going to happen. Texas is not going to come here running things because they know that's not going to happen. I think I'm going to enjoy it. Can you imagine, Stephen, the games that we'll be seeing if that would have happened this year or next year? Georgia and Alabama going at it in the regular season. Florida in the Red River rivalry would take on even greater beat. That we'll all watch it now anyway. So if we knew it was two SEC teams going at it, that rivalry would have even more of our attention. So that means folks, the opposers, is like get with it or get left behind. Like Nick Saban said, you didn't see in his famous speech, and he didn't see dinosaurs coming in the morning. So it's either get with it or, well, they'll get with it eventually. They just like to say stuff, I guess, right now.
Definitely appreciate that thought. They're coming from Robert out of Mobile there. Good thought right there when you look at just the potential expansion here, bringing in Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC from the Big 12. We take our next call right here. You're live on the show. What's going on?
Hey, Stephen. This is Corey from Trustful. How are you doing this afternoon?
Doing good, Corey, and yourself?
I'm doing great. I just wanted to make a comment about Auburn wanting to take the head of the elephant off. And, my thing is this. I understand that Auburn beat Alabama a couple of years ago, but if the Iron Bowl last year, if Auburn would have won, or even if the game was close last year, I could see Auburn's point, but neither of those things happened. And, to me, when you say you're not scared of somebody, to me that means you really are scared. And Brandon Marcello, who used to cover Auburn, who he nationally covers teams, but he knows people who covers Auburn. He is saying that he's heard that Auburn has no defense. They have no receivers, and Bo Nix has not progressed at all since Brian Harsin's now been there. And to me, that shows me that Auburn is not going to do well at all this year. He says, Brandon Marcello said he thinks that Auburn's going to do best at 6-6 this year. And to me, if you're trying to pump up saying that you're not scared, to me that shows that you're scared. Would you agree?
I like that point you made there, Corey. Definitely like that point right there. I mean, with Auburn, we all know a lot of what Auburn is just wanting to beat Alabama. There's no aspiration to win a national championship. There's no aspiration to win a conference title. The only aspiration, as long as we beat Alabama, as long as we have knocked off Alabama or kept Alabama from doing what they want to do, then we feel like we've had a great season. And it's kind of sad. It's really sad when you look at that's the one thing that Auburn holds near and dear to its heart. Not a national championship, not trying to win a conference. It's as long as we have that crab mentality of keeping Alabama from winning, we can be mediocre as all get out. But as long as we keep Bama from being great, then we've done our job. So it's weird. It's crazy. Appreciate Corey for that call. We take our next call right here. You're live on the show. What's going on?
Roll Tide, Stephen.
New Jack, what's happening?
Hey, man, I just want to tell you that I heard you on Feinbaum. I heard what he called you, young, and then he said that word, that I'm not going to say that word because I know you are definitely not no kind of tiger. You definitely are not a young tiger. You definitely are not an Auburn tiger or an LSU tiger or any kind of tiger. And I love the way you told him you're a floating spirit And I love the way you phrased that. And, you know, I also wanted to say on the subject of Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC, there's been a buzz for a while about probably consolidating into 4 16-team super conferences. And I agree with Robert from Mobile. The SEC is just trying to jump out ahead of that. And if we get Texas and Oklahoma, we will be the premier conference in college football. There will not be any sort of, you know, USC and Oregon and UCLA and them, Nebraska out in the Pac, whatever Pac 16, I guess it'll be, or, you know, the Big 16, I guess it'll be. Ohio State will be begging Notre Dame. The ACC will be begging Notre Dame. Maybe probably ACC is going to have to take UCF and the South Florida Bulls. We don't know what's going to come out of it. But if it happens with Texas and Oklahoma and we become a 16-team conference with everybody we've already got and the competition we've already got, and we add those 2 marquee teams to the mix, you know, the SEC will be leading college football into you know, just a different place, a different plane. And with NIL and the transfer portal and the 12-team playoff, man, we are looking at something that is just crazy different. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
Appreciate that thought there coming from New Jack. Continuing the conversation on potential SEC expansion when you look at Texas, Oklahoma wanting out of the Big 12 and to join the SEC. Before we get back into the calls here, got to go to a quick topic right now. And that quick topic is Bama dominated SEC Media Days. Bama owned Media Days. The Crimson Tide was picked by reporters to win the SEC West. It was picked by reporters to win the SEC conference, win the SEC championship. And the Crimson Tide had a league-high 16 players named to the preseason All-SEC team by the media. Of the 16 guys, 8 of them were first-team honorees. Those 8 include John Mechie, Evan Neal offensively. Defensively, it had Fidarian Mathis, Will Anderson, Christian Harris, Henry To'oto, Malachi Moore, and Josh Jobe. So those 8 players were first-teamers. Alabama had a league-high 16 overall, made the All-SEC team preseason by the media. Alabama picked to win the SEC West and the SEC Championship. Guys, shout out Scott Sheridan. Scott Sheridan, that $10 donation, helping us out here on the show. Appreciate the love there from Scott Sheridan. We go to another call right now. You're live on the show. What's going on?
What's going on, Stephen? Here, young Sway from down the bay.
Sway that came back in here. Man, what's up, Sway?
Man, I'm straight, dog. Hey, I seen you on the TV the other day, man. Hey, I just had to call in and see how you were doing, dog.
I'm doing good, man. Doing well, man. Doing well. Can't complain here.
Well, that's good. And I'm trying to make me some more money this year. That's why you ain't heard me, because I made a lot of money from the last season, though. So just make sure you make them picks right, because I'm going to be listening to you, and I'm going to be putting that money up. Because it took me a long vacation. I ain't even work no more.
I got you, Sway. Come back in the fall, Sway. We got that money train back for you.
All right, make sure that, cause I heard you change location, but you know what I'm saying? I still make sure I had to come see if I need to, though. But I'm going to holler at you, though.
Appreciate Sway. Young Sway from down the bay calling in, trying to get that money tree ready for the fall. I feel you on that one, Sway. We take our next call. You're live on the show. What's going on?
Yeah, just let me get it off speakerphone here. Scott Sheridan calling in from Texas, huge Horns fan here. How you doing this afternoon?
Doing well, Scott. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. The last days has certainly created a buzz, as everyone knows. And as being a huge Horns fan, I cannot wait for the Texas and OU to get in the SEC. Every game is going to seem like college game day. I've been waiting for this. And nothing against the Big 12, but you got to admit the Big 12 is kind of boring. And I mean, my take on college football has always been, well, I love Texas and I love the SEC. You know, you can't beat college football like that. However, I just want to say this, and I've been on to a lot of shows that I've watched recently, and all the scuttlebutt on the chats is, well, you know, Texas isn't going to be able to compete. Texas is going to be the whipping boy. Texas is going to be the new Vanderbilt. And, you know, people are basing that on the past, and I get it. I mean, you know, Texas hasn't done much, honestly, from winning or especially player development. However, with this new regime coming in with a lot of SEC flavor, you know, a lot of people down here are now drinking the Sark Kool-Aid, myself included. And this year in Austin will tell a lot of how Texas plays. Now, all I want to see from Texas is just getting better week in and week out with this new scheme and these new coaches. Because I think that if this goes like it should, and like we're all hoping, Texas will be ready to play in the SEC. There's no doubt OU will. And the last thing I'll say is I love your show very much. Texas getting the SEC will give me more of a reason to watch your show on a regular basis because you'll be covering Texas football. And I can't wait for that because, in my opinion, you got one of the best shows on the air. Thanks a lot, and God bless.
Appreciate that call coming from Scott Sheridan helping us out here on the show. We take another call right now. You're live on the show. What's going on?
I said I wasn't going to call, but Gonzo's hot. Who are we going to take in? We're going to take in Notre Dame. We're going to take in Texas along the Shorthorns. We're going to go up and get the Oklahoma burning down Scooter. Who else we going to put in the SEC, Stephen? I can't take this. I can't take it. I got to have something for the headache. Help me, Stephen. Help me.
I'm trying to help you, Wagon. I'm trying to, man. I'm trying to. But, I mean, it's just crazy how at the conclusion of SEC Media Days, Texas puts this bomb out there saying, hey, we in Oklahoma, we finna lead the Big 12 and come join the SEC, and everybody's running around like chickens with their heads cut off. This is going to be crazy how this is going to all kind of form together because starting by Monday, Texas and Oklahoma will have conversations with the Big 12 officials and stating that they're not trying to remain in the Big 12. So starting next week, more of this news is gonna be unfold. It's going to unfold and come out.
Oh no! I got to take something out. And Bo Nix getting up at media day saying they're going to take the head off the elephant. Auburn. We need to put them out in the Pac-12 somewhere. Everybody in the Blue Ridge game's looking good. All this money. Everybody have a great weekend. Wayden loves everybody. TDA appreciates everybody on this show. Y'all have a great weekend. Bye-bye, everybody.
Appreciate the call coming in there from Wayne. I'm going to go with this. Going back to Scott Sheridan's call. If Sarkisian hits as a head coach, this can be really fun. Because we've always known Sarkisian to be a great offensive mind. And Sarkisian at first, you know, the head coaching opportunities at USC and at Washington didn't quite work the way he would have liked them to. He was young when he first came to the head coaching ranks. But if he hits at Texas, this is going to be very, 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 very intriguing. So, Scott Sheridan, your hopes and dreams of Texas being back to where it once was prior to Mac Brown moving on hinges on if Steve Sarkisian hits with the Texas Longhorns are concerned. We got the final results here from the expansion poll in terms of bringing in Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC. So yes, with 49% of the vote, you guys want Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC. Yeah, let's go. 49% of the vote there. At no, 27% of you say keep the SEC how it is. 11% of you, it don't really matter to y'all. 11% of you guys haven't really decided. But at 49% of the vote, which went in the poll, you guys want Texas. You guys want Oklahoma in the SEC to continue these strong, awesome, fantastic matchups that we all definitely want to see in the future. We take another break right here on the show, but upon our return, we get into the lock or drop game. New 6-pack of interactive questions talking about this Bama team and beyond. Before we take our break, though, McConaughey came in here with that $15 donation. McConaughey, put the money in the bag. Do that thing, McConaughey, with your bad self. Appreciate McConaughey there helping us out on the show. But when we get back, we will have the famous locker drop game, tidying up loose ends right after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to STSfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to STSfootwear.com and get your All Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
Back in here, folks, to the action from the break of a #1 form for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Thanks to everybody writing in, chatting in, voting in, texting in, donating in, calling in, whatever you've done to make this your show. We greatly appreciate you. And before we get into the famous locker drop game, got to remind you of TDAwear.com. That's TDAwear.com. So for all of you fans still overjoyed with the Crimson Tide's national championship, we want you to check out our championship collection merch. This means you grab you an 18 of them things, folks. Hoodie, t-shirt, or sweatshirt, as well as our Got 18 We Do shirts. Designs that feature all 18 championship years on the back. You head on over to TDAwear.com. Do it right now. TDAwear.com. You go over Championship Collections merch tab, and you get you that gear today, showing that support for Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. As we get into the locker drop game, I want to remind you, as the listeners, the fans out there, we will be having a poll for each locker drop question in the chat line. Be sure to vote in the poll your answer for each question in the locker drop game. Get the poll in the chat line. But as always, locker drop is a fun 6-pack of interactive questions talking about this particular Alabama team and beyond, answering lock or drop, creating so much fun here with you guys. So let's get cracking. Let's get right on to it. So first thought here in the locker drop game, questions on screen here. So Alabama will have a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense in college football. Alabama will have a top 5 offense, top 5 defense in college football. Starting just off right here with the defense, I've said this so many times, this defense has something to prove this year. They're coming out under a lot of motivation this year. They want to show they can still minimize teams, shut teams down, hold teams off, keep teams at bay, create those turnovers, get sacks, stop the run. All of that is what this defense is trying to do under Pete Golding, who's also trying to take a jump up as defensive coordinator. When you look offensively at Bill O'Brien, so many people feel like, well, no more Mac Jones, no more Najee Harris, no more Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, no more Landon Dickerson, Deontay Brown, and Alex Leatherwood. So obviously, Bama's offense is going to take a huge step back in terms of being dynamic, but John Mechie doesn't quite think so, as he has said in the press conference. So Alabama, top 5 offense, top 5 defense in college football. Let's see what you, the fans, think right here. You, the fans, you guys are locking this at 83%. You guys are locking it at 83%. You're dropping it at 17%, but you guys are going more so drop right here. I'm locking this in. I'm locking this all the way in. I think the defense is going to be top 5 across the board. All of the marquee players are back. There's no excuse for this defense not to be top 5 across the board. I think offensively, it's going to be top 5 across the board. The reason why, you got the balance in the run and pass game. I think Bill O'Brien is more so clever than what a lot of people give him credit for. And when you don't speak a lot about something concerning Alabama, that particular thing tends to sneak up on you and bite you. And I like this Alabama offense right there. I'm locking it in on both going in the top 5. Moving on here. Next thought in the locker drop, 6-pack of questions. We go to Miami's quarterback, De'Aaron King. Miami's quarterback, De'Aaron King, will be the best quarterback, but Alabama's defense will face this season in terms of the regular season. De'Aaron King, best quarterback Alabama's defense will face in the regular season. We're looking at De'Aaron King right here. I mean, the guy's athletic, the guy's elusive, coming off a serious knee injury that he suffered in the Cheez-It Bowl against Oklahoma State. But the guy's got a lot of talent. The guy's got a lot of ability. The guy can extend plays, and people always say, what's Alabama's kryptonite? It's a quarterback that can extend the play. They're mobile, they're athletic, they're dual threat, they can create on the edge. That's the type of quarterback that gives Alabama, that gives Nick Saban problems. We've heard it time and time and time again. But the thought process is De'Aaron King out the gate, first game of the season. This will be the quarterback that will give that will be the best that Alabama's defense will face in the regular season. Let's see what you fans are thinking right now when you look at De'Aaron King. So 20% say lock, 80% say drop on De'Aaron King. I'm rocking with you, the fans. I'm dropping this one. I don't think De'Aaron King's going to be the best quarterback in that Alabama's defense will face. I actually think that quarterback may end up being Matt Corral of Ole Miss. Matt Corral of Ole Miss is really, really good, and him with Lane Kiffin, that's going to be interesting right there, but I'm going to go with drop on that one. So as we look here at the next thought right here, we've got, Alabama will have 2 1,000-yard receivers. Bama will have 2 1,000-yard receivers in the upcoming season. And the last time Bama had 2 1,000-yard receivers, that was 2019 with Devontae Smith and Jerry Jeudy. That was the last time it reached that mark. Now, it could have had it last year. It could have. We know Smitty went off 1,856 receiving yards, but John Mechie had 916. So that was real, real close. And going back to what Mechie said on Wednesday, this offense will not be anything short of dynamic just due to you've got the Jameson Williams guy in here from Ohio State. Coaches like him, players like him. Mechie spoke on, hey, these young receivers, they're all studs. My confidence is through the roof where all of these guys are concerned when he talked about Ajay Hall and Christian Leary and JoJo Earl and Javon Baker and Trayshawn Holden. The confidence is through the roof with all of these guys. But the thought process here is even with 5 running backs on the roster, even with so many wide receivers and a couple of tight ends also, and even with Alabama wanting to have that balance, Crimson Tide, 2 1,000-yard receivers. 78% of you say lock. 22% of you are dropping this one. I'm locking this puppy all the way in. I'm locking this puppy because, like I said, 2019, you had it with Jeudy and Smitty. Last year, you came so darn close to having it with Smitty and Mechie. I think this year with Bryce Young, I think Mechie and Jameson Williams. Mechie and Jameson Williams, I think both of those two get it. I think both of those two get to that 1,000-yard season. So the next thought here in the arena of lock or drop, we're going to move here to the potential expansion. When you look at Texas, Oklahoma would be great additions to the SEC. Both of these two teams, you talk about the founding fathers of the Big 12. They have been talking about we want to leave the Big 12. We want to join the SEC. We want to link up here with the conference that, it just means more in. And I've spoken on this, getting both of these two teams in here, more competitive games, more fun games, more eyeballs on these games in terms of the TV contracts and the revenue. Recruiting is going to be all the more intense with having these two teams in here, and also, the 9-game schedule in the conference. It's going to be fun. But the kicker here is Will these be great additions to the SEC? Let's see what you guys have in the poll. 86% say lock, 14% say drop on the expansion, adding in Texas and Oklahoma. I'm going to lock this puppy in. Locking this one, like Texas, like Oklahoma, in the conference. We always love the BBD, the bigger, better deal. Can I get the best games? Can I get the best conference? Can I get the best teams? Can I get the best coaches? Can I get the best players? Can I get them all going head-to-head consistently to keep my focus where it needs to be at? And having Texas, having Oklahoma in this conference, the SEC does that. But we move on here. Next up, in lock or drop, this goes to the Alabama group of freshmen at wide receiver. And this thought is Asia Hall will be the lone freshman for Alabama to get on the field and get some action this year. Asia Hall, lone freshman to get on the field and get some action. Now, Hall is big time. Hall has potential to be something very, very special. We saw this in the A-Day game. The young man, 5-star from Florida, 6'3", 195 pounds, 4 catches for 72 yards, had us seeing visions of Julio Jones out there on the field. Coach Saban talked about him. Kirk Herbstreit and Joey Galloway couldn't stop talking about him. Asia Hall's a big deal. But at the same time, you've also got guys like Christian Leary, who has speed, who has burst, who's got explosion. You've also got guys like JoJo Earl, of whom, in my opinion, the best replacement for, losing a Jalen Waddle to the league is you get a JoJo Earl in here. Then you also got to look at Ja'Cory Brooks. And that's one that no one's talking about. And Ja'Cory Brooks has talent. He has speed. He's got ability. He's got burst. He's got playmaking skills to his game. But the thought process is, of the freshmen, Asia Hall, lone guy to get on the field and make an impact here. Now, this one's close from you, the fans. 52% of you say lock, but 48% say drop. So this is close right here. My answer to this, I'm going to drop this one. I'm going to drop it because I think Christian Leary is going to get on that field in some way, shape, or form. And I think JoJo Earle is going to get on that field in some shape or form. Kick return, punt return. I can see Leary on that field. I can see Earl on the field. Kick return, punt return. Now, I do see Asia Hall working himself in there as well, especially in some packages at wide receiver. But I do not see him as the lone freshman taking the field there at that position. We move on here to the next topic here in lock or drop. It is the final one for this edition here, 6-pack of questions. And it goes to BY, Bryce Young, number 9. Bryce Young season here. So Bryce Young will total at least 5 300-yard passing games. He'll have at least 5 300-yard passing games this season, Bryce Young. And this is Bryce's moment. Bryce's time. We all saw last year, beginning of this year, national championship game. Mac Jones comes off the field against Ohio State. He hands the ball to Bryce Young in a kind of a symbolic way of saying, my time is over, young blood. Now it's your time. Do your thing. This is your offense. This is your team. This is your moment. You now take over. And we saw Bryce, go from that moment to having a tremendous spring. Coach Saban kept talking about him all spring. Had the big spring game, 333 passing yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Teammates were talking about his leadership, being vocal, being serious, understanding when it's time to get down with the get down in terms of running this offense. Yes, he's gotten near $1 million in the NIL deals, but that does not seem to be distracting him, that does not seem to be derailing him or obstructing his attention from what's important, and that's that's getting Alabama to be back-to-back national champions for the first time since 2011-2012 seasons. But the thought process is here, will he total at least 5 300-yard passing games? For you, the fans, 87% are locking this in, 13% are dropping this. I'm going to go lock this sucker in, put the money in the bag, and run out the doggone door, locking this in favor of Bryce Young. And I think it's doable. as much as you want balance in the run and pass game and you want to use your backs and try to take as much pressure off Bryce Young as you possibly can, I think the 5 300-yard passing games are extremely doable. Why do I say this? Because you look at this. You played New Mexico State this year. He's going to bomb on them. You got to play Southern Miss this year. He's going to go off against them. You got to play Arkansas this year. I can see that being a 300-yard passing game. He's got to play he's got to play Tennessee this year. That's a 300-yard passing game. He's got to play Auburn this year. That's a 300-yard passing game. So I wholeheartedly look at 5 300-yard passing games. Very much so doable for Bryce Young in the upcoming season. But folks, that has been this edition of the six-pack of interactive questions known as Lock or Drop. I appreciate you guys, and we appreciate you guys voting in on those polls, courtesy of our own John Opry. Big shout out to John. They're putting those polls there in the YouTube chat line. But as always, Bama fans, you want the best in news, notes, information, and material on your favorite program, that being Alabama football. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you've got the Android phone. For your audio listening needs, we got you well taken care of. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Overcast.fm, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, iHeartRadio, got you covered right there. Got a little tongue-tied there for a minute, but I'm back right now. Also, if you are trying to purchase those individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, you can get those, have those sent to your door. That link will be found in the description. If you're trying to get the fresh edition, new edition, print edition of TDA, the magazine, you can go to touchdownalabama.com, click join, become a member, a subscriber today. That link is in the description also. And if you're trying to get your hands on the 4-finger bling necklace, 4-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of our guys at weownthefourthquarter.com. That's weownthefourthquarter.com. That link in the description as well. But until next time, folks, husbands love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children weekend in the building. Continue doing the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, good thing, legitimate thing. To not be bored. You get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. Protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith. And this has been In My Own Words.